Welcome back to Bricks and Buckets, Season 3, Episode 16. Of course, I'm Nico.
I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Rob.
Now, another episode. Bono now on vacation. He's just leaving us, I guess, forever. Brooklyn joining on quite the episode. Quite
Perfect
the episode. Have you seen those memes where it's like me to any occasion and it's like me to the downfall of the Brooklyn Nets?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I
that.
got sent that after every single playoff loss. Yeah.
That's how I feel right now. This is
that's
also
how you feel.
Or no, I mean not how I feel. I'm just enjoying the memes. I love seeing this. We're recording this now 4 hours after free agency has started. A lot of interesting deals. One that dropped not too long ago that I wasn't even mentioning to Brooklyn yet was that Jalen Brunson deal that just went through.
I just saw that right when it came out.
But we got a lot to talk about. We want to keep it not too long either. So I want to jump right into it. First thing, I think before we get to KD, I think we need to recap what happened before free agency started, which was a very random Will Barton trade to the Wizards.
Very random.
Like the Nuggets got KCP. It had to be for salary. Like I think that was a terrible trade for Denver.
I mean, I like KCP, especially working with Jokic. KCP is a great 3-point shooter, especially from the corners, which is really where Jokic likes to dish the ball out. So I like it for Denver, but they gave up way too much for him. I agree, especially Will Barton.
You give him Monte Morris, which how much different is Monte Morris from KCP?
Practically the same player.
Like pretty whack. But that's it. That's all. Just Will Barton to the Wizards. That's it. Really random, but this happened technically after free agency. Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. out 4 to 6 months. Or is it weeks or months? He just had surgery.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I thought it was months.
He's gonna be gone. Brooklyn again. Your Nets made a very interesting move. Royce O'Neal for a first round pick.
I kind of like that because he's so defense oriented and the Nets are just horrible on defense. I mean, especially now that we're gonna lose two of our best superstars. One, Kyrie's a pickpocket for sure.
First round pick.
Yeah, the first round pick was extremely random. I didn't even know we had a first round pick anymore. And as a Nets fan, you don't believe you have a pick in a draft. And then when you see you drafted Karis LeVert, you're like, oh, we drafted someone? I didn't know we could.
I don't think the Nets picks really matter to them because I don't think they're going to go into a rebuild, even with KD and Kyrie.
They're constantly in a win now mode. You can see it with first off the absolute failure of the Celtics trade that they made with
because the Rockets have all their picks to begin with. I can't imagine that they go into a rebuild where they don't even have their own picks. There's no incentive for them to tank.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we're going to talk about some KD trades, ones that ESPN posted, some that we think, but everything's got to include a massive haul of like first round picks. Everything I've seen is at least 2. I've seen as high as 4. I think it's all worth
players, of course.
And speaking of trades with a lot of draft picks, DeJounte Murray out of nowhere on the open market and scooped by the Hawks. Hawks not even having to give up John Collins. I think they gave up Gallinari, 3 first round picks.
And 3 firsts. Yep, and a swap.
That's a steal. That's an absolute steal.
I agree.
What do the Spurs have to offer? I mean, they have to just build like a somewhat of a solid backcourt, frontcourt, bench, whatever. Like such
like a name that pops up to me that is just wasted potential in that roster is like Onyeka Okongwu. Like that's could have been something you go for. But I mean, 3 first round picks is 3 first round picks, but DeJounte Murray broke out. Over 20 points per game, over 8 rebounds, 9 assists. This guy was like a very mini Westbrook. Made his first All-Star game. And for the Hawks, you put him right next to Trae Young, add a lot of defense there. My one thing is I hope that they work well together. Do you think that it's going to be a lot of, I think DeJounte's numbers are going to go down, but playing next to Trae, 2 guys that normally both take the ball up, is that affecting DeJounte Murray?
By numbers, do you mean his points? Because I think that his rebounds and assists will stay just the same. If not, his assists might get a little bit better. I mean, dishing off to Trae Young. I know that Trae Young usually operates with the ball, but if they run plays with DeJounte as the primary ball handler, I feel like he's going to thrive with actual scorers out there.
It's going to be so tough because Trae's also such an ISO player. You see all he's also a catch up, but he makes a lot of shots for himself. Yeah. So, if he's taking a role now where DeJounte's now the one ball handler, it's going to be a little bit weird. And there might be some disconnects there because that they're playing completely different roles. Well, one of them is going to keep their role, but the other is going to have to adjust, and that's just going to be strange.
They're just a poor defensive team. I think that's what they valued most. And like I said, I mean, you gave up 3 first-round picks, but I think, to be honest, like a late first-round pick in the NBA, I think it's valuable to a certain extent. But I think once you get into the 20s, like if you look at drafts, like you usually have like maybe 3 guys that come out of the late part of a first round draft that end up being impactful.
If that.
So like I'm not someone that's like stuck to first round picks. That's why I think OKC is gonna absolutely explode all of these into a trade. Could do it for Kevin Durant, bring him home. But I think outside of that, I mean, one thing we'd never mentioned, we completely mentioned last episode how we were going to talk about the draft. Didn't even realize the draft was going to be right in between. And after everything that's happened today, we're not even going to discuss it. We're going to have to bring that back for probably, I mean, next episode is going to be more free agency. And I think then we throw in the draft reactions. But really quickly, if we're going to mention anything, I think massive W for the Detroit Pistons.
In the draft?
In the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can get Ivy at 5 when he was supposed to go forward to the Kings, I think is a huge win for him. I think that he has one of the highest potentials in all of the draft. And especially when you're looking at Keegan Murray or Javen Ivey, Murray's a guy that's more NBA ready right now, but his ceiling is not nearly as high as a guy like Jaden Ivey. What's that?
It's like a Pat Williams pick, like what Chicago did.
Yeah, like a safer pick, like a guy that's going to contribute in the NBA. But I mean, Ivy could be a star. I really like it for a Pistons team that's not in any rush to contend.
I'm a big Jalen Durant guy.
Yeah, me too.
I thought
that got tossed around for some reason. I don't get why so many teams passed him up or like just gave him up. Like, it was just so stupid. Like Detroit's now just gonna have an absolute dogs as their bigs. Like Durant's so physical, and you don't see as many physical bigs nowadays. They're all
except for Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, and that's where he's gonna be with. Like that's where he's gonna be with. Who in fact is from my hometown, but whatever.
Who do you guys think had like the worst draft nights, or who else do you think was like a really good team on draft night?
Knicks were, I don't know.
I don't hate the Knicks. They got 3 first-round picks out of it.
It's just their pick. On the other hand,
they're gonna suck again. But oh no.
I would say
after you, bro.
The Knicks did not have a good night. I mean, every time they have a lottery pick. Yeah, Porzingis turned out fine for them, but like you're so testing your fans with like these random names that most people haven't heard of.
I mean, you should have known when Kevin Knox wore the Fortnite jacket.
That's when I gave up on that team.
What were we gonna say, Rob? What teams?
I think I don't with the Keegan Murray pick. If you're the Kings, why are you not swinging for the fences? You're not one safe pick away when you're picking number 4 in the draft. So I really dislike them taking Murray over the likes of a guy like Jaden Ivey who has the potential to be a star. I get that they already have a lot at those couple positions in De'Aaron Fox and Mitchell there. But aren't we into the positionless NBA kind of, put 5 of the better players out there on the court at the same time, 5 of the guys that fit well together and see what happens?
I think it's a big shot at Halliburton if you do that.
I mean, I don't like them trading Halliburton to begin with, but I get Sabonis as a beast, but I don't like them trading Halliburton to begin with.
I didn't really agree with the Kings draft.
I think that the Kings just continue to show why they're poverty.
Wow. I mean, when's the last time they made the playoffs? 2002?
Something like that.
That's crazy.
Absurd. Anything you want to add, Brooklyn?
No.
I don't know about you, but it is free agency time.
I'm ready to get into that and actually, I'm also ready to not talk about that.
All right, so we're back. I think really quickly, so we leave enough time for the Kevin Durant talk because I want to leave it a significant amount of time for that. I want to rapid fire these. I'll give a grade if I'm really adamant about it, but I want to hear you two talk about some of the moves that were made today. If I miss any, feel free to call me out for it. I wrote down a list, and these are all out of order. Like the first one on my list, Lonnie Walker, mid-level exception to the Lakers.
Weird. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I think that he's a guy that it's if I had to grade it, I said I'm not going to give grades, but this is the one I'll explain. For Lonnie Walker, I think this is definitely like an A- situation because he's gonna get the cameras on him. He wasn't so good as a shooter, but if he's good, everyone's gonna see it. There's no way he's on the Lakers next year if that happens because he's still young. He'll get his bag. For the Lakers, I think it's kind of an L because that's your Malik Monk replacement, and I don't think he's better than Malik Monk.
I think he brings something different to the table than Malik Monk, though.
He's an inconsistent shooter, which worries me a little bit. But I don't know. It could
Better
be good for the
defensively,
Lakers.
Lakers needed.
What about you, Brooklyn? Any thoughts?
I got nothing. That I also think that trade was just weird, unexpected.
All right,
Not
then
the trade,
speaking
the signing.
Speaking
I'll
of
give
Malik
it-
Monk. Oh yeah, wait, sorry. What were you saying, Rob?
I was just gonna say I'll give it a B for the Lakers because I don't think it's terrible to add a little bit more defense to sacrifice a little bit more shooting when you get LeBron and AD on the team.
I'd give a B too.
It's a mid-level exception. What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Malik Monk just mentioned 2 years, 19 million to the Kings. What are our thoughts?
Slightly overpaid.
Really?
I mean, he brings a shooting aspect, but like I get it. Like the Kings just got rid of Halliburton, but it's just I don't know. I just don't think he's worth that money.
You're out of words because
Bro.
Malik Monk signed with the Kings.
Yeah, I'm also just trying to think of what the Nets are going to be doing this whole summer. So like,
Only
it's
got
not
Nets
a
on
lot
the
of
brain.
Let me give you a B plus for that one. I like Malik Monk as a player. I think that pairing with his college teammate De'Aaron Fox is going to add something to that team. You know, just even a little chemistry spark. I mean, the Knicks, but the Kings need everything that they can get in the positive, vibes department. So I like it for them. They needed a little bit of shooting, especially from the exterior. I like Malik Monk just as a 3-point shooter. B plus.
God in college. Do you remember
What'd
Malik
you say?
Monk in college?
Oh, love Malik Monk in college. Are you kidding me? Him and De'Aaron Fox are
Filthy.
crazy.
All right. I just really want to get to this one. Jalen Brunson, 4 years, only I think it's at 104 million to the Knicks. I say only because Dallas offered him more. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit.
I'm going C plus here. I like Jalen Brunson as a player. I don't even think that he's necessarily overpaid. I mean, he deserves. He's a hard worker. He's a really good player. I don't like it as much for the Knicks because I don't think that Jalen Brunson puts you over the top when your star is Julius Randle or when your star is RJ Barrett. I feel like if they replaced Julius Randle for someone who's a legitimate bona fide star and then Jalen Brunson was your third option, that's different. But they don't, Julius Randle's not going to go win you a championship. So I feel like they're going to be stuck in the upper middle with this deal for a long period of time. And I think that the NBA punishes anywhere in the middle, whether it's upper or lower. I think the NBA punishes it, whether it's the Wizards in the bottom middle or the Knicks now in the upper middle. So I don't really like it for them.
He just summed that up perfectly. I got nothing else to say.
They're getting a good player, and it's not going to put them over the top.
I think
C plus.
I want to call this an overpay. Like, I think it's such a Knicks move to throw a bag at someone. Like, what, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, are we saying Jalen Brunson was going to get this type of deal? I don't.
No.
And in the playoffs, granted, he did have some good games, but like he did struggle a lot in that final series against the Suns. And I don't know. I mean, did he look good in Dallas? Maybe. I just think there's not much for him to build on in New York. The big thing that I noticed is I think his dad actually works with the Knicks now. So that probably led it to it. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this.
Went to school at Villanova. That's somewhat close.
I mean,
there in
fair
Pennsylvania
enough.
versus New York.
You
Played in
mentioned
MSG during the Big East tournament.
you mentioned the Wizards with
Yeah.
being in that that little that null area. That's not great. And last episode, you remember, we talked about Bradley Beal getting extended. I thought it was going to happen. You thought it was going to happen. Where's Nick Storlazzi when you need him? This man thinking he was out the door. He signs back on a max. I think it was what you needed in Washington. You can't let your star player walk. Is he a max player?
Yes.
I think in Washington,
I think
yes.
so for them.
I just think
Yeah.
it was the move that everyone saw. Like everyone knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, and it needed to happen for Washington if they want any hope of ever getting out of the middle. I mean, he is a star. He's at the very worst a second option on a really good team. You needed to max him out because without him, then you're kind of hopeless. If it's me, middle forever, I would have tried to trade him last year for some picks to go to the bottom to try to restructure the team to get to the top. But I guess they're content being in the middle and trying to get back. And if that's what they want to do, then signing Bradley Beal long term was a must. They had to do that.
I don't think like teams like this that like fight for the 8 seed. Like I used to clown the Pistons when they had Drummond and Blake Griffin because they were so good at being an 8 seed.
Yeah.
Because you don't get anything out of it. But at the same time, like I kind of respect the move by Washington. Like they still want to try, which I'll give you a pat on the back for it, like A+ for effort. And Bradley Beal too. Like I said, I mean, he is the Washington Wizards. I think it'd just be so demoralizing because I went to DC this year. I went to a game against the Nuggets. Oh my God, it was terrible. Bradley Beal wasn't even playing, but they got killed. I think Jokic played like 30, like literally like 30 minutes exact. And it's just like they need something for the fans there because right now there's not much to root for. At least you got Taco Bell now, at least.
There's not much to root for in Washington, even though Bradley Beal's back. I
guess it was kind of like Kuzma showed off a little bit more.
What's the report card grading on this? I think it's just a B+.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was kind of a necessary move. I mean,
yeah, like B+. I see more like a B.
It's weird because just from a straight up, just looking at the move in a microscope, I'd give it an A- or an A because you signed a superstar to your team. That's kind of the goal in the NBA. That's what you want, right? But if I'm the GM of the Wizards, I would have traded him a year ago. Like I said, I mean, you can't let him walk though, and get nothing for your guy. So I just looking at it in a microscope, I'll give it an A-. But from the Wizards standpoint, like what is the direction now?
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to contend with a team that is very young and a lot of role players that, like the role players, I feel like they have good role players, but the role players just there's too like. I don't know. They're just not. They need to go to another team to fill that role. It just doesn't seem like anything fits in Washington right now.
You can't keep getting the 10th through 12th pick every year and expect to hit high lottery players because they don't. Cody Kispert, Johnny Davis, whatever.
That just completely reminded me. Someone that is not even on this list. John Wall to the Clippers.
Ooh,
I love this.
I like that a lot.
I love it. I am riding that LA Clippers to the title next year train.
Oh my God, you're on that?
Okay. I'm on that. I'm so
driving that. I'm driving.
Are you kidding me? I mean, John Wall, Norman Powell, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. Like Kawhi sat out a whole year and then won a ring. Don't forget.
Covington's there.
Covington's still there. They re-signed Zubac.
When's the last time Wall played though?
It doesn't matter.
He's not the focal point of that team. If John Wall can give you 15, 5, and whatever.
Didn't he say something like after Harden left, he felt like he was Houston and he hadn't even played for them yet?
Reggie Jackson's there.
I don't know. I love this move for the Clippers. I think it was I honestly wouldn't be surprised if now Boogie comes back. Someone told me that, college teammates.
Yeah.
He wants a ring. It makes sense.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll give the Clippers an A for that one.
We also saw a lot of extensions. I'm talking ones that I already haven't mentioned. Devin Booker got a max. Anthony Simons got 4 years, $100 million. Lou Dort, 5 years, $87 million.
Andre Drummond to the Bulls.
Portis back to the Bucks.
Wait, yeah. Oh yeah, the Portis extension, 4 years, $49 million. Very interesting on that. Gary Harris got extended by the Magic. Very random, 2 years, $26 million. Claxton got extended. Patty Mills, Nick Batum, Chris Boucher. All these
Patty
guys.
Mills declined his player option.
He signed a 2-year, $14.5 million deal.
I don't know how to feel about that. That man was
Claxton,
so inconsistent.
Claxton 2 years for 20 is nice.
Yeah, just get him at the free throw line with Kyle Korver for the next rest of the summer until the season, and then once he hits 40 free throws in a row, let him go.
I want to hear the thoughts on this one. PJ Tucker's contract, 76ers, 3 years, $33 million. That's a C-.
That's a D+ for me. That's just. I mean, what are you really paying for? It's 36.
3
There's
years.
one spot on the court he can actually hit from, and he doesn't even hit from it half the time.
Well,
he's more of just like a bulldog on defense, if even that nowadays.
I'm happy you guys know that PJ Tucker has been. I think there's never been many good compliments given to that man in the 3 seasons we've done this podcast. Anytime it's brought up, it's negative. I mean, good. I'll say good for him. I mean,
yeah,
he got a bag for 36. Not a good deal for Philly.
I give him the same level of respect as I do to Patrick Beverley. Those guys are on the same tier of player to me. First off, everyone hates both of them.
What's your rating on this?
I gotta go D plus.
D plus.
He's not worth even close to that. Shouldn't ever be there.
One move I wrote down that I actually really like that's really random, and this is probably the final one I'll touch on before we get to KD. Kyle Anderson, 2 years, 18 million to the Timberwolves. I think that's exactly what you need.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like that. Like he played exactly the role that they wanted him to, and he was pretty consistent with it. I don't care that he's called the slow-mo player in the league because he moves at like half speed. Yeah, it's so really funny to watch him play. But he's also like surprisingly effective. When you watch him playing, you're like, how the hell is he doing that?
He just takes his time.
Yeah, somehow.
All right, so now let's run it over. Let's talk some KD moves.
No.
KD and Kyrie trades we want to see. Nets get DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Josh Richardson, and 3 first-round picks. Suns get Kevin Durant. Lakers get Kyrie Irving. Spurs get Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks. Absolutely hate every part of that trade.
I like that trade. I love that trade.
That is just ESPN just keeping us going. It's just creating content for podcasts. That's all it is.
I'm a fan of that just because of what the Nets are getting. I mean, if you're thinking like for the other teams, yeah, that's horrible.
And your 3 first-round picks are 2 from the Suns, 1 from Charlotte.
Exactly.
That made my head spin.
This next one I actually really like. Kevin Durant to the Pelicans for Larry Nance Jr., Brandon Ingram, 4 first-round picks.
You didn't tell me that. I like that Ingram part.
That one's not bad.
No,
that one's pretty sweet.
You get the 4 first and Ingram. I would do it.
Again, I told Nico this before we went to record. Any player that comes from especially like the Suns or the Heat, no one wants to come to Brooklyn. Like no one is going to want to play there. Brandon Ingram is like currently like rooted in New Orleans. Like you think Mikal Bridges is going to want to leave a first seed Suns and Ayton the same thing just to come to a team that like with 2 superstars and a somewhat okay backup. Like they made it past the play-in and then got swept by the Celtics, like with both of them healthy.
What are some trades that you would do? Like if you're like, say for Kyrie, KD, both separate, we talked about some Kyrie trades before, but like what are teams that you think could make a move? And if so, what would they give up?
I like that idea you were talking about earlier with that Chicago Zach LaVine sign and trade.
Yeah, before the pod, I mentioned Zach LaVine, Pat Williams, and I think one of DeSumo or Kobe White. And then you're gonna have to give up some first round picks. But
I mean,
I think
the reality is
the
Nets are not gonna go back into rebuild mode at all.
No,
like Sean Marks came into the franchise saying like we're gonna win, we're trying to win now. So to me, anything with Oklahoma City just seems so unrealistic for this to like be interested in.
I agree.
So poetic though. It would be so poetic.
Well, then we watched the Nets just sell those like 4 Paul Pierce for a game. I don't know.
What about you, Rob?
Resign.
I think that trade centered around Bridges and Ayton in Phoenix makes a lot of sense because those are winners. I think they have the better packages to offer necessarily to do it as a Celtics fan. If they were interested in, getting Kevin Durant.
Hold up, I did not get any of that.
What's that? You didn't get any of that?
I got partial of what Brooklyn just said, and then all right, now I just hardwired. So I don't know what Brooklyn just said before that, but we're back.
It was about those. Okay.
Yeah, I heard something about Paul Pierce.
Oh, I don't even. Where do you want me to start from?
Oh no, I don't know. Just jump in. I'll make it work.
All right. Yeah, I mean the Nets are not going to be in a situation where they're going to want to rebuild. Ever since Sean Marks came into the franchise and was like, we're going to win now. Try to surround Kyrie, KD with these guys, like, and then, well, eventually, I still hate that Harden trade to this day, just because, once they changed that rule, I automatically knew Harden's whole play style is just done. Not to mention, I mean, you already saw it happen. The game's moving too fast for him. But yeah, no, like the Nets are not like in a like they're not going to be interested in anything else for another superstar or 2 to help them win now, because what we're going to give up 2 of the best players in the league. And I mean, we're expecting another couple of best players in the league to back it up.
It's going to be the
Um,
biggest trade in NBA history.
Most likely for now, unless Chet Holmgren becomes an absolute superstar in his rookie year, and then who knows?
Rob, where's KD going?
Oh, I don't know where he's going, but I think in terms of teams that could actually pull it off, you have to have some sort of established star that's going to go back to Brooklyn. I like that Pelicans idea. That's something I hadn't thought of yet. The Celtics could do it with Jaylen Brown, although I don't necessarily want them to.
I don't either.
The Suns could do it with DeAndre Ayton, something centered around him and Bridges. This is probably going to make a lot of people laugh, but the Warriors could do it.
I said that.
Think about what the Warriors have to offer.
I said
Between Wiseman and Kuminga and their picks, which they have Moses Moody. You know, they have Andrew Wiggins, who just had a breakout. The Warriors could realistically make it happen, which would be hilarious to see the shambles that Twitter would be in.
I'm for it though.
I actually like that idea too.
I'm not really for it. I mean, I would like
last time he joined them
championship.
Last time he joined them, they were 73-9. This time they won.
I would like my favorite team to win a championship. Another team that could do it that I don't think would, but that could, I think, is the Timberwolves. Ooh. I think that trading one of your two future stars along with a couple depth pieces and some first round picks would get it done.
I mean, it's obviously gonna have to be Anthony.
I kind of thought the other way. I think they trade Cat.
Could be Cat at the same time. Like he is their big. He's their best player. Like, I mean, who's his backup?
They just drafted Walker Kessler out of Auburn, but they also have Naz Reid.
Naz Reid played good down the stretch. Low.
I couldn't see the Timberwolves giving up Cat anytime soon.
Well, KD also won't go to the Timberwolves.
He would hate to be there.
Right.
Like,
no way. We're seeing Kevin Durant in Minnesota.
Second best Kevin to ever play there.
I don't know. I like the Warriors one. I was thinking earlier, I was like Poole, Kuminga, Mosey, and then picks. But as Brooklyn said, like they want to win now. And I don't think Jordan Poole really does that. Even though without Curry, fun fact, he averaged 25 points per game.
Really the thing is, it doesn't matter where KD wants to go. He doesn't have a no trade clause. He doesn't have a no trade clause.
He runs the show. I mean, Rob and I were saying that like it's crazy how much control players have right now. Or like KD, like the main reason that I'm loving everything that's going down right now is because it's like this team was forced onto by players. They forced their way in. Now they're forcing their way out, and we're gonna see a complete team overhaul in like 2 trades if this all happens, because I don't think a KD trade is going to happen anytime soon. But this is going to be the largest trade we're going to see in NBA history, and I just want to see what happens with the Nets. Like that whole roster is different.
Dude, I'm like on my heels. Like right when I saw that he requested a trade, I was like, everything I've ever known about the Nets organization for the next 4 years is now completely gone. Because like it's so funny because like when Kyrie re-signed, he was like, you think I could just leave my man number 7 like that? And then Ben Simmons is like feeling magnificent or something. Then KD just requests a trade 30 minutes later. And right when I saw KD request a trade, I was like, and Kyrie's gone. So we're losing the star point guard position. We're losing the star small forward / power forward who can also play center position. I mean, there's so much that can happen right now.
This has to go down. Like KD being traded will go down as the biggest trade, because the only like before we were recording and Brooklyn brought up the the Nets Celtics trade that sent Pierce and Garnett over. I said like the one that I can remember at least was Paul George to the Clippers. They got Gallinari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 3 firsts and 2 pick swaps. I mean, that's a crazy haul. And this was Paul George, I think, right after his like top 3 MVP finish with OKC. So like if he gets that, Kevin Durant's it's gonna be crazy. Like the Ingram and 4 picks, it just makes me smile.
Yeah, I like that. Nance would also play a pretty good role in Brooklyn alongside Claxton. I mean,
and this rumor here too, Rob, throwing this to you. 2 different rumors we've heard all day. Probably the 2 biggest storylines between these is Kyrie's trying to go to LA, but Kyrie's still trying to play with KD. Is there any chance that the 2 of them somehow reunite? Like if they're packaged together?
I would love to see someone try to match almost $80 million in salary.
The Miami
in a
Heat
trade.
can do it.
With who?
We don't want the Heat player. We don't want Duncan
Because
Robinson.
the Heat cannot trade Bam to the Nets because the Nets traded for Ben Simmons. And you can't have two rookie level exceptions, something players on your team at the same time.
So shout out NBA District on Instagram for this. Crazy trade where the Heat get KD and Kyrie, the Nets get Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, and 4 first-round picks.
Not enough.
Mm-mm.
Not
That's basically everything you have. That's, I mean, if you want to throw in the Martin twin, that's all you have that isn't Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo.
Lowry, Hero, Duncan Robinson. No, they need to give up years to whatever his name is, Omar, the big center.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to say his name. You need to give up Struce. Those are both promising young players.
Struce did so well in the playoffs.
Then Lowry, then Hero. The only reason Duncan Robinson's in there is for his salary. He's not a valuable trade asset.
He's a bubble player. He's like TJ Warren. Look what happened to him.
I would
Brooklyn
never
Heat
do that. I would never
over
do
there?
that if I was Brooklyn.
I mean, there's not many other teams that could offer. Like, I think the only other team that has enough assets, but it wouldn't put them in win now is, again, I would say OKC if you're trying to combine both of them, because I think OKC also has some salary to work with.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think the answer to that question is no. I don't think Kyrie and Katie get packaged anywhere.
Does Kyrie go to LA?
If he forces his way there, just like we were saying, NBA players have so much power these days.
Well, now
if he forces his way there, he will.
With him accepting his player option, it has to, like, he can't take a pay cut now. So it's got to be Westbrook for Kyrie. That's the only way it happens.
Yeah, I'm good. We'll just release him.
Don't do Russ like that.
Not taking Russ.
I mean, the only thing is I continue to support Russell Westbrook. The only situation I wouldn't is if he's sharing a court with Ben Simmons.
That'd be terrible.
That is the only time I will say you can't.
That'd be such a shit show, bro. Like,
And you put Drummond on the court next. Oh, didn't you just said Drummond got signed?
I thought Drummond. Maybe. Oh, I don't know anything about Andre Drummond.
What did I say? Chicago.
Yeah, Drummond, 2-year, $6 million deal to the Bulls. That's a W for the Bulls.
And they got what's his name?
Center, point guard.
Vucevic.
Yeah, they're starting center. There's this random thing where the Bulls shop had Clint Capella jerseys being sold. So then everyone thought Capella was there were going to be some trade with the Hawks, and then this was like the day before DeJounte got traded to the Hawks. It was just the most random thing.
Random.
Oh, and also shout out, before we wrap up, I want to shout out JaVale McGee. 3 year, actually no, let me rant about this actually. 3 years, $20 million deal to the Mavericks. Good for JaVale McGee. I was screaming all off season for Mo Bamba. I think he needed a floor spacer. Like, because the way that Luka plays, it's drive to the rim and dish it out. And JaVale's not really stretching it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But also,
Mo Bamba back to the Magic.
Did that happen yet?
I believe so.
That's just another inch. Oh my God, that Magic team is too much. But are we all set with the KD trade offers?
All set with that.
All right, then let me send it away. I'm gonna sit up for this too. To wrap up the episode, the start bench cut, which I originally planned, I think 48 hours ago, to be Cleveland Kyrie, Boston Kyrie, Brooklyn Kyrie. I think we gotta wash it. I think instead we're going OKC KD, Warriors KD, Brooklyn KD. Start with you, Brooklyn, the broken Nets fan. Start bench cut. Which KD's leaving? Which staying? Who's going on the bench?
That's so tough because he had his best numbers on OKC, but
Your mic is bugging right now.
That year he had Golden State, the one where they won. Like,
Rob, do you hear that too?
I hear that too.
My laptop's bugging too.
All right, Rob, you go instead.
Yeah, let me go first. While we get that figured out. I'm gonna start Warriors, Kevin Durant. I think he was the most valuable with them. I think it was clearly the prime of his career, kind of like Miami LeBron, just like a 4-year stretch where he's just absolutely unstoppable. Won 2 championships. I know it was only 3 years, but won 2 championships. So I'm going to start him. I'm going to bench Thunder Kevin Durant, and I feel like the only real option for cut is cut, and that's Kevin Durant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thought you guys were gonna say start OKC KD. Because I agree with you 100%. I gotta start Warriors, I gotta bench OKC, gotta cut Brooklyn, because the one difference between OKC and Warriors was the rings. Like he was the best player on a team next to Steph Curry. So for me, that's clear as day. Unless Brooklyn, are you gonna fight for OKC KD? Did he get the mic fixed?
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. Wait, Brooklyn. We still got you on the camera. Can you text me your top 3?
Yeah, the mic is done.
He's sending it away. If he says OKC start. Oh no. Are you gonna say Brooklyn? Being the Nets fan, is he upset with him? Shaking his head. The time wasted.
This is the best content we've ever had.
This is peak. Oh, we got a little laugh. Maybe wait. Brooklyn, talk.
Oh,
you're golden.
All right. Well, it might only be for like a couple seconds, so I gotta be quick with this.
Use it while we can.
It's gonna bug again. I can tell.
Yep. It's dying. It's dying.
Um,
And he's back. He's back texting. Rob, how was your day, Ben?
My day's been great.
Let's have a
Getting
nice
ready
conversation.
for a long weekend. Nothing. NBA free agency. Here we go.
Dude, and today was only the beginning, and I still can't believe we blanked on the draft so hard. That was
Next
so
episode.
good. Shams hasn't tweeted. Oh, Kevin Knox going to the Pistons. Oh, we have an alert from Brooklyn. Starting Golden State, KD, OKC, Brooklyn, all the same. But a direct quote from the Brooklyn. KD solely because KD was so injury prone for Brooklyn, and OKC KD, even with young Russ and young Harden, couldn't get it done.
Fair rationale.
I mean, yeah, that's fair enough. But let's wrap it up right there. That's gonna do it for Bricks and Buckets this week. Make sure to follow the socials. Instagram is Bricks and Buckets, Twitter's Bricks Buckets, and subscribe to the YouTube at Bricks Buckets. And shout myself out on Twitter. It's gonna be at Nico_Fasella. Rob, shout yourself out. Brooklyn, if you even can.
I am Robert_Dickey11 on Twitter, and Brooklyn. I don't think we're gonna.
We'll see Brooklyn another day. Brooklyn, wave for everyone on YouTube. You can wave them off. So that'll do it. I mean, I messed up the outro again. See, without Bono here, I don't know how to do it, but
We need Bono back bad.
We need him bad. I'll send it away. I'm Nico.
I'm Rob, and that's Brooklyn.
And we will see you next time.